Hello and welcome to the review of the new Kamen Rider Wizard SH Figuarts Real Bone version. I'm going to be comparing this to the original. So, the original Kamen Rider Wizard Figuarts all came out in 2013. I'm just going to bring him along now and put him next to him. First of all, you can see the size is completely different. He's way shorter and the proportions are completely wrong. For those of you who don't remember, Kamen Rider Wizard is one of the earlier SH Figuarts reviews that I did, and I absolutely hated it. First of all, one of the arm joints, little pegs there, broke the first time I tried to change the hand, and of course the proportions are bad. And even just recently when I was doing the Doctor Strange review, when I was trying to pose Wizard here with him, either the hip would come loose and fall apart because they have a belt swapping gimmick here, so you can swap this belt with another one. More on that later. You pose that, plug it back in, something else falls off. The front panel here also has a swap gimmick and that also falls off, and it just got really annoying. This is one of the worst SH Figuarts release ever made, alongside with the first version of Kamen Rider Agito. So comparing the two, of course, this one has a hard robe thing going on. Inside the box there's also one that flies up. That's also like a rubbery piece of plastic. And if you got the first order bunch of stuff, there's also a rider kick one that came with it, which, to be honest, that should have come in the box anyway. And if you get the bike, there's also like another one. So in total, just with the bike, what's inside the box, and the bonus item from the first batch of orders, that's 4 different pieces you got to swap. That's alongside with the belt itself, because this is also a soft-ish plastic, but it's not that soft, so the rings are coming down. There's one where it goes up a little bit, so you can apply the rider kick rope, and the front panel there is left and right, so you got 2 pieces there. So that's a huge mess of stuff all on the hip area, and it just gets really annoying. The old Kamen Rider Wizard also suffers from really bad clown feet problem. His feet look way too big, and anyway, so they did improve some of that with the dragon forms, and they also improved it just ever so slightly more with his final infinity form. So his feet don't look like clown feet anymore. His proportions are ever so slightly better, but he still has problems. You see, he's still shorter than the new version. They're much better in terms of human proportions, but he's still lacking a bit in terms of height. But overall, I at least can tolerate the infinity one. I at least don't get too pissed off with it, but as of right now, that's, yeah, okay. The problem of the older figure is, of course, cutting off the cape to, you know, not limit his posability. So you got the soft rubber plastic there, they chop that up to make sure his legs can still move in more places, but alas, it does ruin the effect a bit. And of course up there you got some of the hinges, and that can get a little bit annoying. So yeah, new one just looks much better. Now the final infinity form could also use a new version release, but it's not as bad as the original. But if they did release a new one, you definitely were able to do major improvements, certainly on the stomach area, make him a bit taller again, and the other portions, of course, give him the soft robe. And yeah, in terms of accessories, the top row here is the old hands, and the bottom row are the new hands. So in the left hand we have a pair of relaxed hands, we have some palm, sort of hensheening hands, we have his signature poses. For some reason when he had the right fist, that's really stupid on the new one. They should have given us a left fist as well. We have basic holding hand here, and gun holding hand, which again only one. For some reason 2 really spray open hands. Like, are these really necessary? I guess that's like when he's doing the magic tricks and stuff, but seriously, you couldn't give us 2 extra hands when there's like no space in the box? You could give us a left fist and a left hand to hold the gun. That's just ridiculous. Whereas, you know, the old one we have that. We don't have the magic hand, I suppose, but there was that magic set 1. They thought they were going to release a second one. They had a magic set 1, which might have included that hand, I can't remember, but included a big hand as well as some of the gadgets that came with it. Wizard. So there's a little animal beast. So yeah, that's a bit silly. So the old one also has this I'm spinning to the sound of music robe. Okay, this is soft-ish plastic, but you know, gets the job done, I guess. But look how small this ring is. That's how small his hip is. It's ridiculous. Also comes with a stage act with pretty nice print on it, gotta be honest. Red. So every single one of the Kamen Wizard figures came with a Tamashii stage act, with the arm and everything. So that's really cool. That's something we don't have here, so that kind of sucks. In terms of the weapons, another extra thing we get here is with an extra belt. So regular, I'm actually missing the one from the red one. This is from the yellow box. And so we have 2 palms in each on one direction, and we have a more relaxed belt, and this one is a more upper one. It's for the secondary rope for it to come up a bit, which again just gives more unnecessary annoyance to posing this figure. And we will take a close look at these weapons, but you can see here the new one actually just has one handle, whereas the old one just has full weapons. It's kind of pathetic, to be honest. Just saving plastic that way. And also we have a bunch of rings here, which we'll also take a closer look at. So the way the new figure works is that these rings are actually detachable. The peg themselves are actually quite secure. It is very scary messing around with these because you drop it, you're gonna lose it. But I've not lost them yet, and I'm keeping them on this. I'm being extra careful, extra cautious when I'm messing with these. And these are great. Like, they actually molded out of transparent plastic for the main henshin rings, as well as the orangey ones underneath, so that's really cool. And the paint job on these are, well, not as nice as the promotional photos. It's probably quite easy to touch them back up. The problem with these is some of the edges, there's not quite enough silver around the ear area, so from the front it looks a little bit lacking in detail. So if you're really good with a small tiny brush, you can definitely touch these up and they would look great. But as of right now, they still look excellent, and I'm glad they gave us a little piece here just to hold them all in. Plugging them into the belt carrier is fine, as well as adding them to the hands are fine too. At first I thought it was just a bit of a silly gimmick, but it works, because if you take a look at the old one, first of all, look at the old one's right hand. So all of the right hands on the old one will have the driver on ring, which is represented here, and the old one is obviously a bit more bulky and blurry compared to the new one, but it gets the job done fine. But of course that means you won't be able to pose with these other ones that just never existed for the old Figuarts. So that's point one. You can do new combinations that you couldn't have done in the past, because how else were you supposed to do that? You can't just produce like 20 different hands and stuff. So this one's one that works to its advantage. Another one is for the ring hands, however. So here's something that's a bit different. So this wing looks a bit poor. In fact, I have just get the other one, which looks really bad. This hand right here, I mean, what the hell happened? It's like he's melted and stuff. Ugh. So anyway, this better hand here. So the way that the old ones work is, if you buy the yellow box, you get a bunch of ones with the yellow ring, etc, etc, blue box, blue rings and stuff. So you could still pose Wizard like he's changing rings and doing another henshin. That's fine. And if you have the dragon forms and infinity, etc, so you could do that. So that's fine. But of course you have the issue of the paint being messed up and stuff. Another thing about that's better with the new one is it's actually transparent plastic, whereas the old one it's not. It's just metallic red. And like you saw here, sometimes you get ones that are really messed up. So quality control wise, the new one's much better. So the whole ring thing here just works much better with the new one. And if they don't release ever any other forms in the new line, you can still henshin him into older Figuarts, like henshin him into blue, because he can do that. So that's cool that that's there. Moving on to the weapons, let's do the sword one first. So here's the old sword, and you know, it looks fine. It's painted fine as well, and the gold is not as good though. So a few things I noticed, that the mold is actually different. Now both of these are molded with transparent plastic. And if I just open this up, you can see that this hand doesn't stop. In fact, it's just pegged in there, whereas the new one, they actually put a little bit of bump in there to stop you from going too far. So this is quote-unquote accurate. So that's great. The Wizard logo there is actually slightly different compared to the old one, which is cool. And overall, they just pretty much took the old one, because it's the exact same size. The overall shape is the same, but the new one just has slight bits of detail differences. So just get this actual blade in here. I still think this is like a dumb thing to do. Like, why couldn't they just give us two handles? Just gives it more chance of breaking. See that snap? Yeah, is it gonna snap and break one day? I don't know. Hope it doesn't. It'd be really annoying. Interesting thing here is that the new sword has this bit filled in with silver, whereas the old one's transparent. transparent here as well, just like the gun mode. But the new one, this gun mode, is also transparent. But yeah, there's just little edges and details, enhancements, so you can see that the new one is just that bit better. Just gonna bring in the gun here. So the gun still uses transparent hole there. And in terms of the paint, if I shine this underneath a light, the paint is much thinner on the old one, whereas the new one, the silver areas are much more solid when compared when underneath a light. So again, the new one's better. I just really don't like how they've done the handlebar thing. One last thing to note about the accessory is that the rings on the old belt are just generic yellow spots. There's nothing on there. On to the figure itself. So yes, head looks great. The silver is sharp. Now I've seen some people where this silver is a bit smudged and stuff, so that can be annoying, but fortunately for me, mine's okay. The black there is highlighted very nicely, so it is on the shoulder pad, and quick look at the back there. Not too much detail on his back. Despite my dislike of the series story, the suit is still very cool, looks very sharp and just nice because the overall aesthetic is quite simple. We're back to the front here, we're going down to the chest, we have these nice gems. These two chest gems are actually separate pieces, they have a slight hinge to them, I think there's a ball joint underneath, so they don't always line up with the top black area there, that's fine. The shoulder pads there have the joint hidden underneath, whereas the old one just had that really ugly cutout, so no improvement there. Moving down to the belt, we actually have a functioning gimmick there, so we push that up, push that down, and then move this all the way around. So no more of that annoying swapping and issues that come with it. There is the Wizard logo molded underneath there, but this plastic is darker than the old one. That's one of the things with the old one, is it's much easier to see the logo underneath us here. It's almost impossible, but it is there. It is right there, but it's just really hard to see. So, but I mean, you know, from distance it looks correct. They didn't cheap out and not put the Wizard logo underneath there, but yeah, the old one's just much easier to see. And of course, going all the way around, the belt is much sharper. This plastic is very soft, but feels durable, so that's nice. Because we've got all the holes there for the different rings. And of course, we have our fabric cloth piece, which is very good. It feels like the same material used for Eternal. And we have a wire coming down all the way around the silver area, same on both sides, so the posability is excellent. Even if you don't really pose it, it still looks like it's blowing in the wind, and it's very easy to make this cloth piece look good, so that's great. Now the Eternal one was a little bit annoying because it was still a big piece and the wires don't go all the way throughout it, but overall this one is just much easier to handle because it's smaller. And coming down to the feet, we don't have that crappy clown feet anymore, but underneath, I don't know why this thing is really, like, the color is really light, whereas the old one's not that bright, and feels a bit odd. Is it meant to be that white? I don't remember it being that white. Maybe it's easier for like doing effects in Photoshop and stuff, but I would prefer if this was a bit darker. Articulation wise, he's got the double neck joint collar, so he can look quite far down, but the collar does stop him from doing too many poses. He can still look up a little bit, so that's okay, and he does have full rotation, though it gets a little bit tight there, so I'm not going to do it. And shoulder got a double joint there as always. Shoulder pad is on a little arm and a little ball peg, so lots of movement there. And upper arm swivel peg there. Double elbow joint, hands on a peg and a swivel, so it's not a ball joint, but it still gets a lot of movement there. Wonder why they're not using ball joint. Maybe it's easier to break that way. It feels like everything in here is just doing the opposite of the original Figuarts, because the original has a ball joint in there and it did break. So they just use a peg like a Lego minifigure this time. So our torso has a lot of movement, back, forward, it's kind of sideways, does disrupt the suit quite a bit. And not full rotation here, or the upper torso, but it just gets enough just like a natural human would, so that's fine. Legs go up, joints are hidden very well. I love these joints so much, they hide these so well, look at that, it's so seamless almost. And a slight rotation here, leg goes forward, leg goes back, ooh, you can do splits, can you? Almost, yeah. Woohoo! Getting way too much enjoyment out of that. And knee joint, double knee joint, and foot is on a peg and swivel, so rotating there, and of course toe joint. The old figure was complete garbage. Accessory is a little bit better. Hey, it's got the stage act, and the weapons don't need handle swappings, but that's it. It was terrible. And I felt like it was probably rushed because they got all of Wizard's form out right away with trying to get more money out of the other colors being Tamashii were exclusive. So that was 8 Figuarts for his main forms, you got 2 Beasts and his final form. That was like 11 Figuarts alongside other Figuarts that they would do in the same year. So yeah, they definitely rushed that. And while the designer is definitely trying to fix and improve things in the Dragon forms and the Infinity form, it was too little too late. The old original figure was garbage. So this is everything that the old is not. Not only that, even as a figure in its own right, it's really good. The details are nice, the colors are good, the fabric is good as well. The accessory count, while a little bit annoying with the weapon thing, is everything that you need and you would want from this figure. Fist and gun holding hand aside, that's annoying. Why they're missing the left hand, that's it's like they take 10 steps forward but they still take 1 step back just to be annoying. Posability of the figure is good, quality control seems to be okay for the most part. I've seen a few people online complaining with different hair marks here and there. Fortunately for me, it's not my case, but overall it seems to be on the good side. So overall, if you're collecting Kamen Rider figures, this one's a good one to get. Definitely recommend this. If you already have the old Wizard, sell that off for dirt cheap or chuck it in the bin, the recycle bin or whatever, and get this one. If you like Wizard, definitely get it. If you're just collecting main Heisei Riders, definitely get it. And despite my hate for the series, I still think this is a really, really good figure. It's actually exciting to play around with and pose. So subscribe, suggest, and comment below. Take care and have a nice day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye now.